Hi, we're John and Fawn Clark, and we are sharing these videos in the hope that some people are helped by our experiences of our relationship, of parenting, of my experience with food. Um, we feel that we've come through a lot, and we just wanted to share our experiences in the hope that they're of help to somebody. So we had a little incident with our daughter on Saturday morning. We were going to the beach, and she had her wetsuit on, and or was trying her wetsuit on, and she felt that it was too big, and she let us know.
In a very, very vocal way, she let us know,
Yeah,
as is her wont,
and that went on and on. She was not happy because her wetsuit wasn't right,
and she wouldn't take it off.
so uh, we had a choice in how to respond to that. And we've tried everything. We've tried screaming, getting intolerant.
All basically coming from a place of our own impatience about wanting our children to behave differently in a way that, number one, they're not probably capable of given their age and their life experience, and that impatience drives us then into behaviour that we're really not kind of comfortable with either,
Yeah,
so
yeah. So we're trying to be more conscious about our parenting. So uh, I could feel the frustration. I could feel the intolerance. I could feel the resentment. It was like a rod inside me, and I could see that if I um, reacted to her behaving like that, I was doing exactly what she was doing to the wetsuit. It was just like, she was looking at something outside of herself that was irritating her and trying to change it. No different to me.
I'm getting angry.
I'm getting angry. No different to me looking at Poppy, which is something outside of myself. She's pressing my buttons. It's making me angry, and she needs to stop making me angry. But I've realized I need to turn that around and go, God, I'm the one with the anger, and own it, and feel it, and sit with it. And it's not easy, but it did. Sitting with it meant that I wasn't reacting from a place of fear, and it allows me to get some perspective and react from a place of tolerance and love and patience, which is the goal.
Yeah, and I suppose our approaches to parenting can be quite different, as is often the case with most people, I'd imagine. So I'd fall down probably on the part of the disciplinarian, whereas Vaughan would be a bit more permissive, in my view. And when I can kind of recognise my own impatience with Poppy, or with anybody, or with Jolene as well, and to kind of say, right, Poppy, you can leave your wetsuit on. It is too big. I know you're angry. I hear you, but we're actually going in 5 minutes, where you can either choose out to get dressed here in the house, or you can keep your wetsuit on, and we bring your clothes into the car. And I suppose when things are dealt with in a way like that, like where we're both conscious, it also saves on the fallout from when we're coming from a place of anger, because next thing we know, there's actually an issue then between us about what way we've actually come at a thing, always. And I suppose the only reason that we know they're coming from it this way is that there's actually no fallout, you know, while we still might be going down, as was the case on Saturday, where Poppy was still crying for a good while going down the car. She was the only one that was in a place of um, upset, I suppose, and anger.
Yeah, I think even though we disagree sometimes on parenting, I don't ever get triggered if I feel like you're coming from a place of love. Even if you're being quite firm with the kids, I think I know intuitively and I can feel it when you're coming from a place of it's that sort of and only because I hate it myself when I come from that place of intolerance and I'm reactive to them and I do things that I regret doing or say things that I regret saying. Um, it's only that you trigger that in me, and then there's this sort of vibe between us that I'm sort of disapproving of John's parenting,
Yeah.
and I'm well able to do exactly the same myself.
And the disapproval would affect me even more than, I suppose, because I know that I probably haven't dealt with it in the best way as possible. So it's almost like an accumulative effect on coming from this place of being unconscious, and to be conscious, I find, to be that conscious, I find that difficult sometimes, very difficult. So it's not a thing that, geez, we're conscious all the
No,
time.
and I'm not not suggesting for a second that we won't scream at our kids ever again. In fact, I'm sure that I will. But it's a standard to work towards, or it's an ideal that we're, and it is good for me to have that ideal, because the more that I practice not reacting, staying present, and communicating in a loving way, saying, okay, we're going to go in 10 minutes, but not from a reactive way, trying to force it, trying to make her behave in a certain way, trying to stop her from having her tantrum. We've tried that, it just doesn't work
for anybody.
So, and it continued. Like, we got to the beach, John went for a swim, and I was on the beach, and she continued to cry, and I could feel the sort of my chest tightening with resentment and anger. I just wanted her to stop crying. I just really wanted her to stop crying and whinging, and I could feel myself really wanting to. I wanted to scream at her and tell her to stop, but I just grabbed her to me and held her, and she immediately relaxed and sort of melted in my arms, and it was like I was holding the frustration in me. I was holding the feeling of resentment and anger, and I just sat with it and sat with it, and then it just melted away. And the amazing thing was, there was no residual vibe in the. We left the beach, we drove home again. Everything was happy. Everything was grand for the rest of the day. Whereas that before could have triggered off, bitterness, reaction, resentment, conflict, withdrawal, blame, criticism.
Yeah, so it would have been a nightmare going to the beach. It would have been a nightmare coming home from the beach. So
yeah, so that's just one little example of how we are trying to grow in effectiveness as parents, and I hope it would be great if our children could see that consciousness and become more aware themselves. It's certainly better than being unconscious and yelling ourselves. So anyway, I hope that helps.
Yeah, and just to say that if there's any topics that they would like covered from, it'd be great to hear from people, I suppose.
Yeah.
And thanks.
Yeah, share your comments. Thank you.
Bye.